But sort of welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
Let me open your microphone.
Thank you, and my sincere apologies for coming late. Just doing the things that we have to do. Yes, helping to inform our public as to what the president is doing, and what he intends to do, what he will continue to do.
Okay.
Because his whole mindset, his whole ideology is to make Liberia a better place to be.
Okay.
And so he's very, very happy doing those things he's called to do. And he's very busy indeed.
Well, okay, so let's start with this note. On this note, rather, with the upbeat of the president I just spoke about. Today, I'm sure the president was able to do a dedication of a new market structure for our people in the Oro community. How did that go?
Well, the president has a dream. He knows exactly what marketeers have been going through over the years. His late grandmother, may also rest in peace, was also the marketer. And so when he was coming up, he used to go with her from place to place. And one of the things, when he was down the line, before she passed away, she always told him that, I mean, she's a marketer, and the president should always remember those who are in the markets. Based on that, he has back upon a lot of projects in terms of market construction. That is not just because he's president now, but he started building markets. Even this very market I was dedicated today, before 2014, he helped to raise the roof of that particular market. Okay. And so today is like a dream come true for people of the Joba market area, where they have a new, I think that's the best market so far in Liberia for now. You have a market that is very spacious. It's situated on 3 lots, which is like 1,900 square meters, and it has 13 brand new stores.
Okay.
You see, the idea of the president is to help decongest Monrovia the best way possible.
Okay.
So that market with the spaces on, you have a free flow of traffic along that way, because people will no longer be able to sell on the side. Even when cars bring the goods for the store, those cars won't be able to park on the road. They will go to the stores to offload the goods and move. So having this decoupled ceiling fence, lighting system, storage for the places, I think is good. The market, maybe it may not be as large as other people expect, but I think it's good enough. You have like 400 tables. Market tables, that's a huge number.
I know the president made a remark at that program. He spoke there. What basically did he say to the marketers?
Basically, he spoke lengthily, and before I tell you exactly what he said, one of the most interesting things about the construction of this market was built. The workers from this market came from vocational institutions in our country.
Okay.
Students, so it's another way of having what you call practical hands-on some of the things we're doing, or the land in theory. But basically, the president's message has been one of the best achievements ever for this president is helping to maintain the peace that we enjoy today. So he was still rallying Liberians to be able to maintain the peace, because without peace, you will not have development.
Sure.
Okay. As he talked about the projects he's undertaking and those he wants to undertake, he was also reminding Liberians that he's connecting up the economic crisis. But today the rate is up, right? If you say, let me wait until the rate comes down before I construct a feeder road, before I build a market, you may end up not doing anything, because the right way sometimes goes up depends on basic prices of commodities on the world market and other factors. So he is doing these things simultaneously. This is why you work on reducing the inflation of the Liberian dollar to the US dollars.
Okay. Now,
so another thing he said was, which is quite touching, is that the development of Liberia depends on every citizenry,
surely,
every institution. So he specifically spoke to the media.
The media?
He spoke to the media. He's a friend of the media. By the way, he owned some media institutions in the country. You talk about radio station, you talk about television station. So he's a friend of the media. He has partnered with a lot of media institutions in the past and even up to present. So, but he was worried what people are posting on the writing in the being aired on the newspaper, being written and being aired on radio, written in the newspaper, even on some of the social media platforms. Those things that people write negativity it has a propensity to scare away investors. So
Investors.
he's saying, he's not telling you don't say what is happening, but if the good thing is happening, development is ongoing, good things are happening.
You need to have them
You
as
need to
well.
have like them. I don't want to say, but let me be for the record. Let me say what happened yesterday. I read in one of the dailies, I think it is the hard paper, we said, President, we are Koji Rick's prosecution by the ICC, and they were quoting the ICC prosecutor. I mean, you can't say things that you cannot substantiate or that are not true. When I read the newspaper, my office wrote the office of the International Criminal Court, and they replied me this morning, and I just want to read for the
Yes,
audience
go ahead.
what they wrote. This was also sent to the rural media. I want to see how many of them will really play it or write it in the newspaper and this and that. They say, with reference to the mentioned article, the Office of the Prosecutor of International Criminal Court denies such unfounded allegation. The writer must have taken the quotes from the prosecutor's statement of June 20, December 2018 in relationship to the situation in the DRC.
Okay.
So there was nothing saying that this president has been peaceful all along. He has been advocating for peace even when he was not in government.
But why did that interest you, Mr.
Because
President?
the reason I'm saying it, these are issues that tend to undermine the democracy. Sometimes some of us in the media try to abuse what we call freedom of expression or free speech. Sometimes we try to mislead people in the diaspora because sometimes we want funny or we want other things to say. So if you are running a newspaper that people will buy and read, and you tend to mislead people, what is the election violence in the president in this country that you have seen? We had the peaceful elections, or the observer talked about how smooth, how peaceful the elections were. Then you said the president rigged what? You know,
I know the president might have
when
seen the article.
So when the president...
Did he react to that in any way?
Well, the president, like I said, is a kind of is one of the most decent person that have ever come from this country. His level of tolerance is very high. It's very high. Like when he was talking, people say why Representative Yeke Akodwa was invited to this program. He was invited because that's his district.
So Yeke was there?
Yeke then showed up,
but
he was officially invited to tell you that the president, who's not against anybody, all he wants is for this country to develop, remain peaceful. Because after 6 years, if he's given a mandate for 12 years, he will leave the scene, another person will come.
Sure.
Should we continue to undermine presidents? If we do that, it starts away with investors, it starts development. And so this is why when you're talking to the media, and because you are talking, how essence, as important this media is, this is what I try to make just the most recent, and, things that people write that may have the propensity to turn the reputation of this president, this government, and the country as a whole.
So indisputably, the president is very passionate about peace. But what was the reaction of the marketers when the president spoke to them during the dedicatory ceremony?
Well, the president address was not solely meant for the marketers, because the marketers all along they were in Georgia moves to have such a facility. But he was speaking to a much broader audience,
speaking general,
Liberian as a whole. So you are touching all the things that he's doing, outlining some of the things he's doing. The structures in Nikutan have been completed and are waiting dedication. That 50th structure. Beside the 50th structure, in Nikutan suburb, that particular vicinity, if I tell you what is in the pipeline, the president is considering building additional 69 units, renovating about 25 more structures around there, and then lining up almost like what you call 42 along the beach side, where you have lights and all of. So lights goes on and giving the place some sort of decency. That what he's doing. Besides that, the president is also planning to dedicate a bridge in Grand Kelgbeh County. To be specific, it's called the Tyler Grand Bridge. The bridge in Tyler Grand in Grand Kelgbeh County.
Is it completed?
It is completed and it is waiting dedication. The only one that is nearing completion, that's the one in Kalia. We are talking about the same Grand Kelgbeh County. So there are a lot of things. What the president is saying, that no matter what happens, probably people want to distract him from what he's doing. but he's going to do what he's able to do.
He will not be distracted.
What he can do, and the Liberian themselves will judge for themselves to see his success he has made and compare to what didn't happen in 170 years of our history.
You're listening to the Bumper Show right here on the OBC 99.9 and all of you guys across Mama Liberia. Our guest today is the on the first lap of the program is the press secretary Solo Kelgbeh. So yes, we spoke on about the president's activities today, and you've just told us that the president also in subsequent time will be dedicating bration and so forth. Now, the election has come and passed, Solo. The by-elections we are talking about. NEC has already declared a senator already, Darius Dillon, and that is over with already. The district or the county, the Montserrat, has been a major stronghold of the president. All from time in and time out. The president now lost that one to the opposition bloc. How did he respond to that? Immediately we heard the announcement, officially from NEC.
Well, I think it is still glaring. Everybody knows that Montserrat County remains the heartbeat of this president, just like all the other counties within Liberia. People will say, oh, this county has less of vote, this one has its vote rich, this and that. But the president's commitment is to the entire Republic of Liberia. Yes, indeed, his party did not win the election, but that doesn't mean that the president is not famous or the party is not famous in this country, or this country is not a stronghold of the CDC.
So was it that move at all when you heard the announcement officially from NEC?
So, well, this is a president in his whole lifetime. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give up.
Did he smile when NEC announced officially? Did he smile that he lost Montserrat? Did he smile? Did he see smile on the face, of the president?
So I continue to tell you, Montserrat County is still the president's base, and will also always remain his base.
Why are you so upbeat about that?
Because, I mean, it is glaring. Some people, if you listen to those who voted, who claim they didn't vote, the president's killing it. They give you a reason why they didn't vote. Tomorrow, if you bring the elections and you put President George Mann, we are down, and bring even 50 parties to march, George will still be there when it comes to Montserrat. So he's not happy that he didn't win, but I think it gives him the chance to retrospect. It gives him the chance to see and do those things while people are not happy about, most especially the economy. So he's working overtime to make sure the economy is improved.
How is the president working overtime? What is he doing now in trying to fix the economy?
Well, there are certain things I don't want to let out of the bags, but I think the economy the central bank is trying to adapt some policies. Those measures being taken will be put before the national legislature, and when decision is taken, we can make that public. But to say this, I don't think I'll be doing it justice.
So the president is not happy at all that he lost the election. He's not happy.
Nobody is ever happy, or nobody ever celebrate defeat. But defeat comes when it comes, you take it as a lesson learned and make progress. And that's what the president is doing. He's working with all those he can work with to make sure that the economy.
But was he able? Because I'm sure you are close to the president. Was he able to rally maybe all of his foot soldiers who were part of the campaign to ask them what really went wrong?
Well, like I said, the president is one person. This is not the first time he went to election, he didn't win. In 2005, in 2011, he didn't win, he didn't give up, he didn't shift blame. He went back to the drawing table, and that's exactly what he's doing this time around. So, having said that, I mean, this may believe in democracy. He's not going to say, oh, my candidate is winning, so that's the end of the world. Why my candidate didn't win? What can we do better? What would they do better? And these are the things he's working on. So, let's take it like that, and applaud the president for being somebody who is who believes in democracy, who believes in the voices of the people, who believe what the people want is what they get, and so he's prepared to work with us.
Mr. President, there are some critical minds who feel that the vote recently was just outrightly rejecting the administration of President Weah.
Well, probably every one of us, we are entitled to our view. People who really know exactly why people voted the way they voted. They will tell you plain blank that it's not a defeat to the president. His party lost. That's his party. He's concerned. But it should no way say that the president does not have a strong hold in Maserati County. That's his base. I will continue to say that's his base and remain his base. Elections will come, and you tell people tomorrow that I've said this on this day.
Now, is the president concerned also, Mr. Press Secretary? Many, some critical minds said that the coalition lost its vote because of the general state of affairs, especially with the economy. People are not quite happy. Even those of the coalition, they are not quite happy with the way the economy is, and so they thought to just vote the way they voted in a more protest manner.
Well, I think we will say this repeatedly. The president is more concerned about the economy than those quote-unquote opposition who feels that the economy is so bad. The president is more concerned. This is why he's working overtime, working with the international community, working with all experts possible to see how best this economy could be revived. And so that remains his priority. One of the things people fail to understand is that when you say you are in opposition and you think the best way to win elections is to press in the minds of people or voters with negative propaganda, things that don't happen, you say they happen, just because you want to deceive the people. It means you're not doing favor to yourself and you're not doing favor to the country. Like, let me tell you, for instance, people had on Facebook that the president was wearing $11,000 shoes.
Sure, that was coming to that, yeah.
The shoes the president wore on that day is even less than $400.
It's less than $400.
Far, less than $400. But because people want to deceive those who are not in the know, okay? And so people just clutter this whole going.
What is the name of that shoe, Father?
I don't know what they have. But the shoes the president wore was far from what they have. You see, so like the same thing I just made mention of. Somebody wrote an article. The international, the chief prosecutor was talking about what incidents that happened in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Then you want to attribute it to what happened in Liberia. These are completely misleading. These are things that turn to really, sometimes when you listen to that, you want to say this. People are just not doing this president justice. The president took office in January, after the inaugural address on January 2018. The next day he went to work, students were protesting. Wow, they are encountering a problem with registration. 170 years, nobody complained about having registration. The president didn't say, okay, I just took office today. What he did, he went back to the drawing board, and now today they have a digital system where you can stay home and plan your courses. You do your registration on courses. So people are just doing this because they don't want him to achieve the things that were not achieved since 1847.
Sure.
That's true. But one good thing is I like about this president. It's not because I'm serving him, because I have been knowing him from time immemorial. He has been one person who never gives up. When he plays for I say he was too lazy, he was not good to play enough.
He didn't
leave the team. He trained extra, and he became the high school MVP, and he went to the Clara Club.
Okay.
He went to France. He was kept on the bench.
Very determined.
He was kept on the bench because they said they cannot use money to the foreign players. So they had Matt Hitley, they had Glenn Hoddle from England. Those were big names in World Cup. He was on the bench till Mark Hitley sustained injury. And when he seized the field that time, he remained there till he won the Ballon d'Or. I'm only making this reference or this analogy because to tell you that you have a president who is always determined, who works hard, who is not looking at people shifting blame. Okay, like one of the things he said today, that people from his party are blaming those from other parties that are serving the government. But he told them, plain blank and all Liberians, that every Liberian who is capable and qualified can work in his government. And those who from other parties that are in the government and that in the interest of the Procurator General will remain. But if you are in the government and you do not want to work with the proper agenda, you do not want to work to help the president achieve his agenda, you are only in the government to undermine, and of course,
then you should get out.
You should get out, you'll be booted out. So he's open to work with everybody. And so once you have a clever mind for everybody, that's it. The 282 units in Grand Crew were completed because the president dream is what remove those huts we have in Southtown and other places. And he told them plain blank, it started from Southtown. But before I leave office, before the end of my 6 year, this will be replicated in all of the 15 counties.
Surely.
Which is, of course, is going to be
That's very
so whether he
commendable.
wins Musarado, whether he wins Sign, whether he wins this, what he has to do for the people, he will continue to do them. And briefly, let me just say this: tomorrow there will be a major press conference because yesterday the president chaired a meeting to address the issue of the students in Morocco. So the Minister of Education was there, the Minister of Foreign Affairs was there. You also have the Minister of Finance in that meeting. So tomorrow they are going to have a joint press conference at Mikia to tell Liberians in the world how we got to where we are, where that we have students who claim to be students when they are not students. Because if you went on a 4-year program and you're there for 12 years, 15 years, think for God's sake, you have a 4-year scholarship, 15 years, 12 years. So the things will be made public, records will be displayed, and students who claim to be students are not taken care of, and students that are on this particular government scholarship that have been taken care of, everything will be made public. So that will be at a Mikia briefing. I just want to talk about that briefly.
Okay.
And I think you want to rush to go to your lines.
We still got a couple of things to talk about. You spoke about the shoes that people have been talking about, but I know that came in the period when we're celebrating our anniversary. Now, what is the president's official comment? What's his reaction so far to the oration delivered by Lema Boy?
Well, I think, let me tell you this, the president hold nothing against him about it. In fact, he applauded Lema and for firstly honoring the invitation to come to serve as orator. I think those who were there and the records are there, he even honor. People will say, well, it was something planned to do. It's not remote control. If he was bitter about what was said, he wouldn't have decorated her with such an honor. But let me come back to tell you what is this. My personal view and what I've continued to tell people. People sometimes, Lema Bowie, with all due respect, I don't know what her position was that day, whether she was with no position, whether she was opposition, or whether she was ruling position. Because if you come up to clearly to accuse the president, and at some point in time being sarcastic to say feminist in chief, you understand? I to offend at that, but the president is not deterred, it's not moved. But what I want to say, everything that was said, I think she spoke probably what she wanted to say, and at some point in time, not doing the public justice. Because if you said the oppositions are doing XYZ, which of course is the reality of what she's doing, and what the ruling position is doing. But if you come out to say that the president does not have this inclusiveness in the government when it comes to female representation, that does not take the fact that he's a feminist in chief. Being feminist in chief does not mean that your whole government should be female. But some of the things, some of the characters, some of the bitter pill to swallow to promote the rights of female in the country. Those are the things you look at. You just don't look at position. But this government have so many female. If you have just 2 female proper cabinet ministers, how many deputy females do you have? Look at your own LBS setup. How many females that you have in a leadership, right? So all over, you have deputy ministers who are female, you have managing directors who are female, you have directors that are female, and so in every fabric of the society, even in the political subdivision among the superintendents, you have female. So why would you say feminist in chief? This president has, you can recall, during the week of the 26th, the national legislature passed this domestic violence act.
Surely.
It's because he was pushing, encouraging, sensitizing this men and encouraging them on the plight that women have gone through this year. So you cannot just look at, because he said only 2 female cabinets and make such a remark.
So that's the only point so far.
It's not, no, there's so many things. There are so many things he said that I mean, that president, the president. You talk about the president not declaring your asset or not declaring your asset in time. So what is the time frame in keeping our constitution for president to disclose his assets? The president discloses assets in keeping with the regulations of our country, with the Liberal Anti-Corruption, and that's it. There are ways to access the president, access if you want to see the disclosure that was made. Have anybody attempted and you were denied? No. We have I don't. Let me be forced to say name. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president for 12 years in this country. When was her assets disclosed? In November when she was leaving power. Where were these people? Where were these people? So people know the facts, but because of some obvious reasons, they will say this and that.
Mr. Press Secretary, the way you sound, it appears that it suggests that the president is not quite happy with the oration delivered by Lima.
The president is somebody who is tolerant, like I said from day one.
Yeah, no, he's tolerant, but he's not quite happy with that.
Listen, all the president wants, people should be able to say the truth. And all the president knows, whether he's happy, he's not happy, she has said what she wanted to say. But the president knows that one day the truth will be out there, and people know exactly that this is the kind of.
So in other words, Lema did not say the truth. I mean, some of the things she said were not true at all. I mean, I know the president's not quite happy with that.
Did she say the time frame? Let's forget about the president being happy or not being happy. I'm just trying to say exactly what happened on that day. Well, what is the time frame in keeping with our constitution for assets to be declared? If the assets were to be declared in 2 months, did the president fail to declare his assets in those 2 months? Resigning no, or in cap. So if he said you disclose your asset or put it in bracket or parenthesis, what the regulation says in declaring assets? You should put it in newspaper, send it on Facebook and everywhere. And the other answer will be resigning no, or in cap. So what I'm saying, we should be clear with ourselves. We should be blunt with ourselves.
We should be truthful.
More than truthful. Otherwise, this country, even if you get Jesus Christ the passport to come here, you will hesitate in coming. The president has put forth a bill for us to have what? Dual citizenship. Because one of the most important things about this dual citizenship is that where you have your investment, where you live, where you have status, is where your interest is. People come with their businesses, gather the profit, and leave because they cannot pay their house here, they cannot live here, this place cannot be their home. So where the home is, where the investment go. Let's see our neighboring countries. Go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Ghana, go to this other place. You have non-Negro citizens there, only in Liberia. Even our fellow Liberians who left because of some obvious reason have taken citizenship, most of them for the US and other places. They cannot come home because they are considered because they cannot have dual citizenship. They are denounced mother Liberia and they cannot come back. So, but if you have these people coming out with their knowledge, with their skill, with the resources they have, it will help to move Liberia
So
forward.
the president submitted the bill in support of that?
Long time, long time. It's still been dragged, a long time. Okay, so, I mean, let us do ourselves a favor.
Okay, now, Mr. Press Secretary, does the president have any plan to push for the reduction of presidential term limit? Does he have any plan?
Well, if it is left with this president, you can even reduce the term to 3 to 4. Yes, he has that intention, and I think it's not just for the presidency, but like you have one senator going for just 9 years. 9 years, you cannot remove him. There are certain things the president want to put forward, but like I said, and he always said, by himself he cannot do it alone. He needs the support, because we have 3 branches of government. If he put forward a bill, take for example, and then the House rejected or the legislature rejected, of course you go back to make an appeal, but you cannot force some bills without being able to veto. Sometimes you have vetoing power.
So has he carved that into the bill now? His plan into a bill to be submitted?
You want to be the first to be breaking this?
No, I'm just asking, Chief.
No, I agree. No, but there are a lot of things. I know the most recent bill that has been tabled by this president. There were 2 most recent bills. There are 2 bills. One, an act to establish what we call Liberia Standard Authority, and you have another one which call for the facility, the World Trade Organization. Let's say World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement. These are very important instruments that have been submitted to the national.
What's about the one to reduce the presidential term limit? Has he submitted that also?
No, I don't want to talk about that until the time comes. But if you call me on your platform with that, if you want to be the first, I will tell you. But
So when will the time come?
It's in the making very soon, very, very soon.
A few weeks from now?
Very soon, yes. Another thing the president is not happy with that I really want to talk about is the unfolding issues at the Liberia Medicine and Health Products Regulatory Authority.
Involving Senator Sir Joseph?
Involving Senator Sir Joseph. It's not just about Senator Sir Joseph, but they are probably the issue of Sir Joseph is off today, maybe for some of the reason. But probably there might be other people who have done similar things or who are in the process of doing that.
Sure.
And the person has sent out a strong warning to those who want to do that. So today we just issued a press release on that.
Please come closer to the microphone.
On that, sorry, on the issue. Okay. The first thing, the president has nullified every things happening there. When it comes to the appointment and dismissal, everything has been nullified. So because in March 2012, on March 12, 2018, it was when the managing director, David Mulba, David Smart, was appointed under the same letter by Sir Joseph. And then on the 19th of July, it seems Sir Joseph wrote to say, well, going back to status quo. So it means he was never appointed by the president, he was never dismissed by the president. But the fact that he tried to absorb the responsibility, the function of the president, absorb the power given to the president under our Constitution, Section 56A, which solely gave the president authority to appoint and dismiss in certain areas, right? Cabinet minister and other agency director and managing director. The fact that was not executed by the president was done by Senator Sir Joseph. That has been nullified.
But this could spark off bad blood between the president and Sir Joseph.
No, I think Sir Joseph is a very honest man.
So he accepted the nullification?
He has no choice because I think where he is regretting the action he has taken.
Okay.
Probably, yes, he has oversight responsibility, but probably, maybe, I don't know what went wrong, but I mean, he should be happy with the decision of the...
Okay, finally, Mr. Press Secretary, before opening the lines for a few minutes, one of the presidents, key ally, especially during the past elections, that produced the president, Senator Prince Johnson, spoke on his pulpit, and he warned the president in his sermon that God is not happy with the president, and he wants the president to begin to make some adjustment, or else Prince Johnson will abolish his support for the president. Did that speak anything to the president at all?
Well, I think let's just be honest with ourselves. Sometimes it's not good to question people on the pulpit. It's difficult for you to see a pastor or an imam delivering his message, his sermon, and then people go to question, no, you don't have to say this or say this. But with all due respect, I think Prince Johnson is senator, is part of the government, and he's a human. He has the right at any given time to support whoever he wants to support. That's a glaring fact.
But he's a preacher of the gospel.
No, listen. Yeah, he's preaching the gospel. Even the gospel says, not everybody that said, Lord will enter the kingdom of God.
You make a reference to him?
I'm not making reference to it, but I said anyone. So it could be Prince Johnson, it could be Sulu Kelgbeh, it could be Solo George. It doesn't mean when you take the pulpit, it means you are sin. No.
So the president's not troubled by that sermon?
No, he's not troubled by that.
But there's a warning from God according to Prince Johnson.
No, I didn't say Prince Johnson. If God can speak to Prince Johnson, God should also be able to speak to the president.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
So what I'm saying, short, I'm not saying God didn't speak to him because I don't know the God himself or the God ourselves, whether it's the same God who made heaven and earth. But with all due respect, he has the right as an individual to support whosoever. Prince Johnson is not the first one who are coming to say you will not support this president. And Prince Johnson did not say he won't support the president. He said he's going to consult his godfather. So probably even if the president, God gave him 1,000 messages, if his godfather said no, continue supporting him. But with all due respect, let's put joke aside, I think the president will hold nothing against anybody for everything they said. But if you don't want to support somebody, come out right and say, I don't want to support you because of X, Y, Z. But don't come out and say, oh, you're doing this, God is not happy with you. What's the message? How can you prove that God said that to you? You see? So
you question the man of God?
Who?
You question the man of God there.
Who man of God?
Priest Johnson.
Everybody made by God are God men.
Okay. 0776089713 or 0880514096. That's the numbers to call, and then you'll be live on the bumper show now. The first caller is on the line. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Yes, your name and where you calling from quickly.
Thank you. Let me appreciate you for this conversation. My name is Aman Kelgbeh, and I collect conversation number 15. I admire your studio guest project. You spoke eloquently and spoke to the issue. Now, 2 points that I take into consideration. The first one is that let me use the opportunity to congratulate the president for dedicating the market. You know, the people of this number 10 are been yearning for that market. So I'm of the stronger conviction that they are celebrating right now, and then the intent of the market and will be met.
Okay.
To conclude, the issue that has to do with students in Morocco studying, and one young person interested, I will make him a responsibility to listen to the press briefing tomorrow, because all the period of time, we have all the negative news about our country and other countries. We think that people went and started to protest on grounds that they are not receiving what they're supposed to receive as a scholarship student. Thankfully, I just listened to the spokesperson saying that some of them, they are not giving us scholarship. But we wait for the official press conference tomorrow to know the status of those people who went at the embassy and carried our country in that.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see this caller on the line. Hello, caller.
Hello, Summer George. How you doing? My name is Andrew Wisha, and I'm joining from Balancing.
Okay, Mr. Wisa, go right ahead quickly.
Yeah, I'd like to say, according to Mr. Absolute Kelgbeh, the Secretary of the President, let us welcome Councilor Kelgbeh. I want to ask this question to you. How is the President seeing on the situation in the country with a whole lot of noise within the opposition and the ruling establishment, where official government making comment and also people in the ruling establishment making some very comment against it, very sad, and also the opposition too making some comment, and that will go well for the society. And then we're talking about youth empowerment. And we are talking about this country as president, and right here nothing much about youth empowerment. And I hope that the president want to come to hear something about youth empowerment, because the country sector now, majority of the people are sitting home doing nothing. The reason why you see the criminal rate is increasing in the country on a daily basis. So I hope you can address this issue for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's take this call on the line. This is caller right here. Hello? Hello? Yes, please lower the volume of the radio, please. Okay, let's hear from you quickly.
I want to congratulate the president, secretary. But let me just say what I think with opposition when it comes to respect to the asset declaration. I did not realize that the president declared his answer late. What he was expecting was that the morality state did not declare an asset and massive out. Make it public for people to see. So the next thing I want to say is that the people go to the way to look at and the picture is there. The way the politicians are parliament all that they can see. I'm not saying that the next place they're supposed to get up on that in the south. I'm not recognizing the next place they're supposed to leave. But the way to do that. And that as a better, they're going to also choose the other way around. One day for the coming, for the coming. Thank you.
Many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Your name and where you calling from?
And good afternoon, Mr. Summer John, and good afternoon to the country of Mother Liberia. And my name is Kelgbeh Political Moderator. I'm the PRO for the movement to protect Ambassador William legacy going for the whole community. And basically, let me appreciate the studio guest, the President, His Excellency President George Manawiya. He spoke very lengthily, and the issue goes for not to panic. The President, His Excellency declared after 2018, July 25th, 2018, the GSC. So the issue about the President maybe people think that the President will go to the block home to show you this is my asset, is that they don't have the law go. So if you want to know the President, after go to the GSC and do follow information.
Okay, so, thank you very much. Let's take this other caller on the line. We can keep one caller there for longer. Hello, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Your name and where you calling from quickly?
Oh, my name is Edward Johnson. I'm calling from the SKG Boulevard Bill.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Salazar, for allowing me this platform. And good afternoon, Mr. Salazar. The issue has to do with the asset declaration. The asset is Kelgbeh. So Kelgbeh, according to your position, you said, and I quote, you said the authority should go to the president before the president can declare the asset. The president is an example. He's our father. When he takes the lead, all people will take the lead. So people have got to go to him before he declares the asset. He should be an example in society. Thank you very much, Mr. George.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's just call on the line. We'll take about simple calls and we'll wrap it up. Good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello? Yes, hello? Your name and where you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Moses calling from Robin.
Yes, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I'm ready to respect the background. We're ready to know experience and people and better understand. Yeah, and then the next thing I have on mind is that I did not hear anything about the U.S. risk. Because we're very suffering with country. We voted for Nigeria in power, but we the masses, we are suffering. So the president has a still reason to discuss about this risk. I just want to hear one or two things from the president secretary now concerning the U.S. risk. That's all.
Thank you very much. Let's take this other call on the line. We'll take on one more, then we'll wrap it up. Hello, caller. Yes, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is I'm calling from 12th Street, Single.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Yeah, the reason why the president lost the election, the concern before, it's happening when the common people then. The president gets into operation now, bonnet, jail, other things then. And what we let us need for, we won't create. I leave it wait for when he beat it, no food, all things then. I leave after the leader for a last time. La bonne mère, for please.
Okay, thank you. The press secretary is laughing hearing that. Okay, let's take this last call on the line quickly. Your name and where you calling from? Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Evan M. Keller calling from Amagashi, the
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me tell you, thank you very much. What all he said it rightly and he said it true, okay? The people who are especially the opposition are not doing the president's justice, okay? What all happening in the country, they are now discussing it. They only discussing the negative side of it. Going around telling the people the country hard, the decorative person is hard. We know this, and it's not in hurry. The president told everybody that this is the situation that we are aware of, but we are working on it. Okay, the construction, the road construction, and the market places that the president building, they are not discussing that. So they are not sending to the president. Okay, thank you very much.
Many thanks. Let's just wrap it up. Mr. Press Secretary, to respond to some of those questions, and I'll wrap it up with you.
Yeah, thank you. I think I just first of all want to appreciate everyone who contributed to the show, those who called in, and those who didn't have the opportunity to call in. Like I said before, we need to do our country and our people justice. So I think a few days ago, some people took the pictures of what you call the AFL, not AFL soldier, but some military hardware on Uri's farm. Uri is part of the opposition bloc. People posted to say AFL has come on his farm. Do you know the message he sent? He, as a leader of a political party, did not say these people that are here, they are here at my own consent. They are here and they are paying for their steel, because these are people that are training in the army. Remember, our troop was soon going to Mali as a full-fledged soldier. They have been trained by the British and American, and these are the people that are still in his farm. That's not the first time. So if you keep quiet when these things happen, what message do you send out there? You're not preaching peace, you're trying to incite people. Now, he was talking about the assets. One of the callers talked about asset being locked up. Asset locked up, I said it. When they say asset locked up, maybe for the ordinary people, the president lacking, he keeping the key everywhere he travel, the key in his pocket. By law, when you declare your assets, the entity responsible do not disclose it until you go through some other means, legal means, to get it opened up and it will be exposed. I just make reference. President Ellen Johnson said the former President Ellen Johnson was president for 12 years. Was the asset disclosed until November 2017? No. Quote me wrong. Show me which daily carried before that time. I challenge anyone. So let's be able to say this president is more than concerned when it comes to the rate. And this is why the president was a bit puzzled when he submitted the names of people at the CBL. He cannot take certain economic policy or monetary measures in the absence of a fully staffed Central Bank of Liberia. You need to have a full board constituted and you have the management. They were rejected. They said they didn't have this and that, but after the week, it was confirmed. Now they are put together some mechanism to be submitted. People, some of the things that will bring down the rate for the very, very, very much longer time is what this president is doing by setting up the asset recovery committee.
Yeah, sure.
We have more than 4.6 billion. Do you know how many years that money can pay civil servants that was smuggled out of the country? So these are measures the president taking. I don't want to fully agree to my last caller who said people should dish out food. The president is trying to work on modalities. He wants to have an agriculture minister. You want to have private sector coming up to be able to empower farmers, to be able to make farms so that, but if I give you food today, tomorrow you're respectful, but when you are self-sufficient, when you can make ends meet for yourself, that's what this president is working after. And the president, let me rush quickly, the president has condemned his government officials. Whether you are Spanish parties or CDC or not, he condemned people talking about counter protest and he frowned against it bitterly. And he had warned those in the habit of making pronouncements on behalf of the party when that party spokesperson to cease. It's counterproductive. All the president wants people to do to preach peace. People want to demonstrate, they go through the proper process, go through the Ministry of Justice, you have elections, you go and protest. But the protests that happen these days, sometimes people, ordinary citizens, end up get annoyed. You want to protest, if you're not happy with the Justice Minister, go to the Ministry of Justice. But people Black Hole Road, people going to job, somebody, mother or somebody send warrant for having to go to the bank, you get again, but because you feel that the Justice Minister is not acting properly. I think that is completely unacceptable. But the president does not no way condone people counter-protesting or threatening the people that we saw in jail. Whether you are in government or not, it's not something to cherish. It's not anything for somebody to celebrate. So I'm happy my brother said he will tune in tomorrow to Mikiat. Yes, that's the Mikiat regular press briefing. And the Minister of Education will be there, Representative Minister of Foreign Affairs will be there, and they will tell you exactly where we have come. Somebody from the Ministry of Finance will also be there because these are people that... The reason why I talk to speak to it is because the president taking interest that you will not see people trying to turn the repetition because the ambassador is the face of Liberia. If people are doing things like that and there are allegations that...
It has a reflection on the press. Well, thank you very much, Kelgbeh.
Yeah, so please, let's just rally around this government because what you do to this government today, when your government comes, you should expect people to reciprocate. And if anybody means well for this country, all you do is to do the best for the country to make it move forward. If you're in the capacity to dig well and allow your fellow neighbor to fetch water until they can get theirs, be happy to do that. Okay, so Sawa is a great pleasure being on the show.
Thank you, Solo. Thank you for taking time off.
Apologies to your listener who expressed me yesterday and maybe early today and I came late, but I hope that whenever we have the opportunity to come there. Another thing I think, to come on, let me talk about quickly. I think the president knows that he came to power based on the full involvement of the youth. And so youth empowerment remains a priority. The president trying to build a capacity in terms of education, giving them scholarship, giving them business to do, but some of them are not really trying to help themselves. Okay, sometimes if we are like 5, 6 in this place, we can find a corporate and have our own organization. But individual-wise, you may not feel what is happening. But the president remains committed. Even the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they have over 30 students that are leaving for some vocational training. We have TVETs and the vocational training all across the country, free access to learn, and so people should take advantage of it. Probably they are not aware, but they try to ask their friends and visit some vocational institution, and they will be too hard to get access to kinds of training.
Okay, that's the voice of the Presidential Press Secretary, Solo Kelgbeh. He's been my guest. Thank you very much, Solo, for taking time off your busy schedule and come here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabo.
Okay. Let me run up back to the point where LPB. Okay. You're listening to the Bumper Show right here on your BC 99.9 and other frequencies across Liberia. Our guest is already seated. He's the head of the John F. Kennedy Medical Hospital, as quite or center. As quite it's a major hospital. It's a flagship, and so we sought to invite him to look at the capacity of to assess, to figure out as to where we are with our capacity in providing not just health care delivery, but quality health care at the GFK. As quite well also you heard about some family members refusing, but that to be at the latter part of our discussion, family members refusing to take delivery of the cups of their relatives. So we'll be talking about that. I don't know why, but Don, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. George. It's a pleasure being here, and let me say good afternoon and good afternoon to our people out there.
Thank you very much, and thank you for honoring our invitation. We are highly, highly delighted for that. Now, how is the GFK currently?
Thank you. The John F. Kennedy Medical Center is gradually moving toward becoming that institution of choice that we envisage in a couple of years from now. But currently, things are calm. We are happy that many of our workers are doing the best they can to execute their duty to the fullest and being dedicated to what they are asked to do. But yes, things are
fine. Okay, so in terms of providing, yes, you said maybe you are not to where you are or where you want to be, but in terms of providing quality health care for our people, what is it like with you? Is it a bit challenging, or is it all rosy for you?
Thank you. In terms of providing quality health care, it has to be, you have to look at it as a holistic process. It's not just looking at one aspect of the institution and then think you are providing quality care.
Sure.
It ranges from ensuring that you have availability of drugs, ensuring that you have the best diagnostic capability, ensuring you have the right personnel to attend to the patients, ensuring that you have a conducive environment where the patient themselves will feel comfortable, not an environment that will contribute to their ailment. You have to ensure that you have an appropriate care for waste, so that patients don't acquire hospital-acquired infection. So ensure that you have a good care in terms of maintaining your instrument and apparatus. You have a very good sterilization process. So it's a collection of many other activities to ensure that you're providing the right, providing appropriate care.
So let's take it bit by bit. You spoke about to be able to provide a quality of care. One, you should take into consideration the availability of the needed drugs, the essential drugs. For GFK, or with the case of GFK, what can you say? Do you have the drugs? Are you finding it difficult to get the drugs? Where are you getting the drugs from?
We for the past 6 months to a year, or a little over a year, we definitely have had our basic drugs that we need to provide the necessary care for our patients. Though periodically we have stock out in between, meaning one or two commodity may be out of stock, and those commodity may not be available in country, which of course may then be a challenge in terms of ensuring that it's available, and or it may happen at the time when we've run out of funds to procure it, or perhaps the information about the depletion of that specific drug was not passed on to administration timely. But whenever we are told perhaps within a day or two, we do the best we can to get that specific drug again available for the care of our patient. We definitely have challenges in terms of ensuring we have the amount of drugs available for the institution, because we rely on local vendors, meaning local pharmacies that are here to procure drugs. We don't have the financial capability to procure drugs from international pharmaceutical firms. So we are at the will and pleasure
of the local vendors.
Whatever they have available, that's what we rely on. Yes, so if there are specific drugs that we may need that they don't have, we just can't do anything otherwise for now.
So it's as a result of which often you give patients prescriptions to go and find the drugs themselves?
Oh, no, the reason we sometimes give prescription to patients, it comes back to what I said earlier. Periodically we have drug stock out where, let's take for example, paracetamol, which is a very common commodity, may run out, and then we don't get feedback from the pharmacy earlier as to when we ran out of it. Now, government entity have to go through specific procurement policy in order to be able to purchase. You don't just go to the pharmacy or counter and just purchase. And it takes time to have those documents.
And so when that delays are there, you have to give prescriptions.
Okay. Yeah, during those periods you have to give prescription. Secondly, some of the drugs we obtain are donated from the National Drug Service, NDS, and when we run out and engage them for replenishment of the supplies that came, if it's not coming on time, definitely we have to wait until the time the drug comes, especially for those drugs that are given out free or we being mandated by NDS not to sell. For those commodities, which have to wait until we get another supply from NDS, because we have to give it out free or give it out free to patients. And that then prevents us from going to procure it and then give it out free. Because once we give it out free, NDS with on the other hand thing, we are giving out drugs that they give to us to give to patient free. We are being sold to patients.
Okay. Dr. Brown, you said something just shortly that's hearing to me. You said we rely on the local vendors to provide for us about drugs and all of that, because we don't have the capacity. The GFP doesn't have the capacity to go, the monetary capacity to go and purchase from international firms, pharmaceutical firms.
Correct.
What is your relationship now with the local vendors you are making reference to?
Well, we definitely have a very good relationship with our local vendors. The fact that we've been paying them off, we are indebted to a couple of them, but one thing for sure, we do the best we can to pay them periodically as we obtain product from them. Whenever one pharmacist does not have a specific product we want, we then move on to another one. But again, it has to go through a bidding process where various pharmaceutical firms in Liberia have to apply, and we give them listing of the products that we want, and the institution or pharmaceutical firm that will win the bill then become the entity that we're going to work with for the next fiscal period. For a specific list of pharmaceutical agents. And once, if we are not satisfied with how we are doing business with you, according to the procurement law, we can give you reason for which you don't want to, and then see whether we can look out for another vendor.
How many vendors are you working with currently?
Currently, we are working with 3 vendors.
3 vendors?
Yes.
But you said you own a couple of them, because when you say a couple of them, that means you got a lot of
yes,
them.
Yes, you see, we operate on a credit basis. I must tell you the truth, okay? And I must say thanks to them being patient with us. We send out our purchase order, and they then supply us. And as we generate funds and or receive or operation from the government, we then go back and look at the documents and pay them back, pay them for whatever
you owe them.
Yes.
Okay. But currently, how much you owe them currently?
Well, if I give you any figure now, I will not be saying the truth. But I'm sure I would think it's not less than 50,000.
It's not less than 50,000.
No, it won't be less.
You owe currently local vendors.
Yeah, local vendors. The amount owing them for drugs. Drug is the primary commodity that consume a bulk of our funding currently at the hospital.
But Doctor, the GFK has a budget, I'm sure. Why will you be owing such an amount, 50,000 United States dollars, owing local vendors when you have budget and your budget, the money comes in regularly?
Well, Mr. George, I do agree that we do have a budget, and we come up with a projection of the amount of drug we will need over a period of time. But we often
based on that, you have your budget
and
submit to the national government.
Yes, we do. But we often don't have the amount, the physical cash we need at any appointed time to do the purchasing. So for this reason, one of the things we strive to do is first create a good rapport with your vendor, ensure that they can trust you, so that whenever you get money, you'll be able to pay them back. And in such a case, we can always go to them because they have developed that trust in us that look, the administration currently at GFK is a reputable one. They've been paying us despite the fact that it will go for a month. And in the agreement we have with them, we made it clear that it may take up to 4 to 6 weeks before we get to pay you. And within that period, we do the best we can to pay you whatever we owe you. Okay,
so it's clear that the GFK is owing 50,000, not more than that. The local vendors that normally provide GFK, they needed and requisite drugs. And now, why does the GFK charge exorbitantly? Because if you do the charges, it means that you should be able to cover up, and if government cannot come in, you should be able to use that money to be able to acquire the needed drugs you want. Why do you charge exorbitantly the drugs and services?
Well, in the first place, before you accuse GFK of charging exorbitant,
because that's the no, I'm not accusing you, but critical minds that what people say.
No, yeah. So whether it's critical mind or it's Mr. George saying so, you first need to do a survey of what the cost of commodities are within our local market and other hospitals or other health institutions, and then compare that with what GFK is doing, and you will get to know that some of the commodities sold at GFK, because we obtain subsidy from the government, we often don't sell our commodity more than we don't sell it out for profit, because it's being subsidized. So you realize that many of the prices we have for many of the things we have are less than what you may have in other places. But one thing we need to know is that health is not cheap. It's expensive. If I purchase,
is that a justification for charging exorbitantly?
Not charging exorbitantly. Well, if I purchase, for example, an ampule of diazepam for 48 cents.
United States dollars.
Yes, 48 cents. United States dollars. I can sell it $1. I will sell it maybe 60 cents. Why it's sold as $1 elsewhere? And the reason is because I have some subsidy There are some commodity we may purchase maybe for 48 cents, but we can't sell it for 48 cents because if we did, the patients coming at the institution are unable to buy. For that reason, we sell it perhaps at 38 cents or 36 cents.
Okay.
So as to ensure that our client are capable of affording it. But even at that, people still can
People do not afford.
So we sell our many of our drugs at a loss. Okay, at a loss. And
Drugs that you took from local vendors.
oh yes,
You sold them.
it's sold as a loss.
Okay.
Yes, so we're not selling it out for profit.
Okay.
And whatever subsidy we obtain from government and or other services we offer tend to fill out the gap that we may have as a result of selling a commodity for a less price.
Okay, so we've done with drugs now. Let's talk about the diagnostic environment you have. Do you have those equipment that you're supposed to do your work with?
Yes,
Surgical
granted,
work and all of that.
yeah, we are getting there.
You have not gotten there yet.
No, we've not gotten there. We still have a long way to go.
Have a long way to go.
Yeah, I say we still have a long way to go because what we envisage in terms of ensuring that we provide quality and affordable health care is to ensure that the entity reach to a point where we'll curtail referral out of the country,
Okay.
at least by 60 to 75%, meaning about 75% of the cases that are being referred out of the country should no longer go out of the country, should be attending to people here. That's our target for at least our first 5 years. Okay, once we can get there, then if we remain for a longer period, then we want to ensure how can we get to that target that people won't have to leave country. But coming back to diagnostic capability, when we got at the institution initially, we could not do many things like chemistry. We had limited capability in doing many of our limited capability in our clinical laboratory. That has improved now, and except for microbiology, which we are yet to get on board to do macro to do culture and sensitivity, that is still lacking. But if you went back now, we now have a pathology lab, which should be the only one in Liberia, where we can now do definitive tissue diagnosis of all lumps and bumps that people may have on their body. They have some swelling here, Yana. We'll be able to tell you now whether this swelling is indeed cancerous or not. And we are grateful to God that we now have a CT scan, which we've started using already. I think since yesterday we've started scanning, and we have other experts that are in country that working with our team to ensure that it's done with perfection. Then we now rehabilitated our operating theaters, and with a specific goal as to how to equip each of them to be able to meet varieties of disease condition. So we want to equip to ensure that in the future we can do spine, brain surgery in that theater, do specific have a specific theater for orthopedic, and ensure that it's equipped to the point that we can do hip replacement and those complex orthopedic procedure. Want to ensure that one of the theater is equipped to the point that our gastroenterology capability will improve, meaning you can look through the person's mouth and stomach to see whether they have any lesion there that is cancerous.
Okay.
Look down from beneath, and so someone coming and maybe the passing brothers to be able to look and know exactly what is causing it.
Okay.
Yeah, and not just coming up with assumption as we've been operating in the past. And we are yet to obtain a mammogram where we'll be able to do early diagnosis of breast cancer. That's what I said, we still have a long way to go. We hope and pray we can have a digital x-ray machine. We have x-ray currently, but we're still using films. Yeah, and we hope we can gravitate from that
To go digital.
yeah, to go digital, because it's going to make things easier and faster for the patient.
Okay.
The X-ray will be done and immediately sent to the doctor at his screening room, that the patient doesn't have to be walking in between and waiting for X-ray, going to hold X-ray film in your hand to go to the doctor consultation room. You don't have to carry X-ray film to the operating theater. You can, once it's digitalized, you can send it by internet and get to operating theater, and the doctor will be able to read it and make a decision earlier and appropriately, so that patient, it curtail the patient length of stay in the hospital. Yeah, so we're now doing pap smear, something we couldn't do before in the past. We will be able to do early diagnosis of cervical cancer, cancer on the cervix of young women. Yeah, young women. And this is something we hope and pray that our younger women will take advantage of, because this is one form of cancer in women that have been diagnosed very late, because the symptoms initially are not something that you will know, and you'll be walking around with it and still don't have any idea of what's happening. But that is happening now at GFK. We can do that. And so there are many things our people are doing now, but yet we still have some gap.
Okay. Dr. Brown, GFK would have, in recent time, would have stalled a major surgical work to be conducted by some visiting Americans, visiting doctors who are here because of your inavailability of the operating microscope. I understand it is. You didn't have it, and so they had to go way to tap it. Being an HO hospital like yours, what is it taking you so long?
Finance.
Finance.
Yes, we finance is one do, but the first thing is we inherited an institution where many areas in the hospital, in the institution, have been dilapidated over time. The operating theater, when we took over, we had just approximately 2, I would say, functional out of 8, and the infection rate for post-operative care was high, and some of those theaters were leaking, and the environment was not conducive to do something like a brain or spine surgery that you're talking about now. If the institution had been where we made it at that time, you wouldn't even think about bringing in an operating microscope, because it would have been useless. The environment alone was not conducive. So we thought on rehabilitating the entire operating suite, which we've completed, and is now we are at the verge of equipping it by engaging our partner, soliciting for funding, and seeing to look at and see how many persons will come to our aid to help equip those theaters. When our partners were coming to perform the surgery they are performing now at GFK in Tapeta. And then for some reason they decided they've now visited our theater and realized that, unlike the time past when they visited us and the theaters were not up to standard, they chose now to perform because the theater is now at the standard where they can safely where they can safely perform this surgery without causing any complication for the patient. Because in health, the first thing we concentrate on, especially for us surgeons, is safety first. Yes, we want to ensure that whatever you do, the patient is going to be safe from the beginning and even after the procedure. It's not just doing it to collect money from somebody. And realizing we never had it, that's why they chose to they purchased the microscope. But in the not too distant future, we will not think about borrowing an operating microscope from Tapeta.
From a small brother like Tapeta?
No, we're not going to do that. I can assure you, in the next 6 months, we're not going to borrow the microscope anymore from Tapeta. We have an operating microscope on the way. So it's just a matter of time, and we are looking at, we need operating lights. We need brand new tables to equip those theaters. We need constant oxygen supply. Those are when the patient are being operated. They have a good flow of oxygen. We need a well-equipped recovery room. We need an intensive care unit so that patients that run into crisis can be taken care of until we can better resuscitate them. So despite what we've done, I continue to say we still have a long way to go.
Okay, we still have a long way to go. You're listening to the Bumper Show right here on the OBC 99.9 and other frequencies across Mama Liberia. Our guest on the final lap is Dr. Jerry Brown. Dr. Brown is the head of the country's one of the country's flagship hospital, the John F. Kennedy Medical Center. Now, Doc, what can you say now about human capital? Do you have all of the needed professionals to do the work there?
I think that's one thing. That's one thing I think GFK can boast of. We have the highest breed of professionals in terms of clinical service in Liberia. I don't see any hospital in Liberia that has the breed of consultants and or professionals we have. There are others who may have one or two, but not compared to what we have in GFK. Don't forget, GFK is also a teaching institution. Okay, and despite what we currently have, remember I said from the beginning, to ensure that you're providing affordable quality health care, human capacity is something that you also have to build. And those that we can get locally, we are doing the best we can to get some from our neighboring countries. While our younger colleagues are sent out for training and or build our capacity to train the younger ones.
I'll come back to that because Doc, you said something that again attracted me to get people from overseas. When you have the issue with drugs, you still owe your local people who pay those people that you bring from overseas. But I'll come into that. Let me take this call quickly on the line. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm okay. Your name and where you calling from?
Someone just the Director General and
National Public Health Institute. Let's hear from you, Chief.
I just want to ask and commend Dr. Brown for his fabulous job in going at the JFK. Our measurement when it comes to delivery services and public health is based on before and after. If you see where JFK was a couple of months back to where we are today, from my analysis and assessment, Dr. Brian's team has done a great job. This is how you put people to the right place. Once you keep people of doing, that's the results you get. And so, as you said, we're not there yet to follow the standards, but what we see in a couple of months, I think it deserves all of the support and the commendation by all Liberians to get that hospital to where it is. As you said, and some of healthcare is not cheap. Medical care is not cheap. In other countries, we rely on medical care for over 20 to 40% of their revenue because of quality, accessible, affordable healthcare services, the quality that they provide. And so healthcare we shouldn't see in Liberia as something cheap. So I have always said that what we need to do to get affordable health care that is also described as universal health coverage is more entitled insurance scheme that the legislators, policymakers, health policymakers need to accelerate. Like yesterday, we should have a scheme that every Liberian should buy into based on your income bracket so that the poor of the poor can access the healthcare, get quality health services, and the rich of the rich can pay for it in one basket if the woman has the selling of data or chicken soup. Once you get a portion of that into the health of the country, so you get the same services in Christmas, you get the same services in Monrovia, you get the same. That's how full countries today want healthcare should run on health country because it's not cheap. Those machines that Dr. Brown is describing, cost thousands of dollars that other country taxpayers are paying for. So you can get different services, MRI services, digital microscope services that you pay is cheap. They got to maintain it, they got to put a cartridge in, they got to buy reagents, and other people taxpayers are paying for that. So we need to afford the bill as that period. And this one will help here, but it got to be through a system, and legislators here have to play to make sure that we accelerate the universal health coverage bill, who we call Live Liberia Healthcare Services for Insurance. That's my contribution. And kudos to the crowd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Director General. But you were talking about the issue of getting some of your professionals from outside. How do you sustain? How do you maintain them? You still have the capacity, very low monetary capacity. How do you do that?
You see, as manager, the first place you have to approach the system and holistically. What you think about drugs, you also think about human resource capacity, you're thinking about laboratory reagent sustainability, you're thinking about infrastructure development, and what have you. Okay, and so given what we have, the first thing we start doing is to work with our mother entity, the Ministry of Health, in terms of how we can engage or to also talk to foreign partners, so that through the Ministry of Health we can have doctors seconded to the institution. That's one way we're doing it. The second way is to engage partners directly to see how they too can possibly provide, say, a subsidy or provide salary for some of the consultants that may come in. And the third thing we're trying to do is to collaborate with other hospitals that are outside of Nigeria to see whether we can establish a bilateral collaboration with them where they too can possibly second doctors to the institution in areas where we have gaps to be able to fill those gaps. The first thing we think about first is looking at our current strength in terms of manpower, and then having identified our strength, they will look at our gaps and then be able to reach out to the ministry what the ministry can possibly do, and then we try to go beyond the ministry to fill up other gaps that we may have. But definitely salaries, paying the doctors that we bring in is kind of more expensive than paying our local doctors. So as we are bringing in doctors externally, we are providing for them short-term contracts as we work on the possibility of ensuring that our own are trained to the level of the foreign doctors or consultants that we are bringing on.
Okay, so before we go to the phone line, let me ask you this final question for today. What is this whole announcement about people, some family members refusing to go and pick up, take delivery of their dead relatives from the morgue? What is this whole announcement about?
Thank you, Mr. George. Let me first extend our apology to the public out there, because the announcement, we hope, if not, it has not created any pandemonium in the public. It was not our intention to create any confusion. If the wording of the announcement did not go well and people are not happy with it, we want to extend our apology. But since March this year, I would say yes, from March, some of the patients we had in the hospital died, and no one has come to claim the body. A good number of them were brought in as dead on arrival, meaning they have died in the community or perhaps died somewhere on the street, and then police encountered them and just picked up the body from the street and brought it at the institution. Okay, that's how some came in. A few of them came ill, of course, were attended to and later died. And relatives did not come back to pick up the bodies. And since the institution was created, over the past 40 plus years, we had a morgue where the cooling capacity has wear out, and we need between 50 to 60,000 United States dollars to be able to replace that system. For this reason, we can't preserve body for a longer period of time. Within about 1 week, the bodies begin to decay, and so we often advise people to come and get their body as soon as possible. But people tend not to come. You take phone, call them, they still don't show up. And for the other bodies that are brought in, where we don't know the relatives that are connected to them, we don't know where they were gotten from. Some you only have written on them brought in by police or brought in by X, Y, and Z. You can't identify who brought them. And people don't come to say, oh, I lost my relative or I stopped seeing my relative, so I've come back to know whether his body is here or not. And as a result, over time, the body decay. It has now created an offensive odor now in the morgue. People can hardly pass around the corridor of the morgue, and that is unhealthy for the people working there as well as the institution as a whole. And because also we have limited storage capacity for bodies, we don't anticipate people to die, but people will still continue to die. If those unclean bodies remain in those storage places, where do we put the others? Of course, we can begin to put them in.
So how do you intend to deal with that?
So the best way to deal with that is to first, we've been calling, that's the first thing, calling contacts that we see on some of the charts, calling and say, you have your body there, you need to come and get it. Please come. And over months, people don't come. Some even shut the phone off once they get to identify your number. And we can't dispose of those bodies without giving a prior notice. That's why we make an announcement, giving people the last warning that they come to get their cups, to create room and create a